1, 2, 3, 4. Hi. Just to make sure, I'm Agnieszka. And yeah, always together. Okay. Let's first make it work. Our great guests, please welcome them with some applause.
It's really good to see you all. Hello, hello. We have today really, I believe, really interesting subject. We are crazy about social innovation, so maybe, I hope you will be too after this panel. Hi, Agnieszka, I can see
Patricia.
you.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, so impactful innovation, what's all the noise about? There is a lot of noise about impactful innovations recently.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, and we think luckily. So what Tomasz said, it's not new, but on the other side, it's great that this noise is actually now, and we think this noise will last. Maybe we'll share with you our perspective on what actually impactful innovation mean.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss it, of course. So we see impactful innovation as something that is created by inter and multidisciplinary teams. And this is a very important factor, and this is what makes it stronger. And these teams are actually focusing on real problems. Not just some problems, not just some tech problems, but something that is actually there, that is real, and that we actually need to solve. And these are solutions that actually have a chance to improve our quality of life. I think this is this great combination, and I hope you agree with me, of different, diverse scientific approaches, of new technologies, of well-adjusted business models, and also of this positive impact simply. And we think that creation of impactful solutions, this is something what we really need today, and this is definitely something that we need for our better future. And we found one definition, because there's so many, of impactful solutions, of social innovations. Quoting Professor Sandra Bates, social innovation is a process solving important challenges of the world with innovative solutions that are better than existing solutions and bring benefits to the whole society, not just to a single entity.
And we would like to show you few different perspectives today. That's why we have so many guests. It's so great that you are with us today. Hi. And we would like to introduce our guests. So let me introduce Dr. Patricia Vizinska. Hi, Patricia, good to see you. She defended her PhD in medical sciences at the Medical University of Wroclaw, founder of NestMedic, who created the Pregnabit telemedicine system for testing the well-being of a baby during pregnancy. Awarded Innovators Under 35 in Poland and Innovator of the Year 2016 by MIT, Businesswoman of the Year in the Women in New Technologies.
Wojciech Mróz. Hi, Wojtek. Wojciech is an experienced entrepreneur using his business skills in projects that change the world for the better. He serves as co-director of the world's largest network of social entrepreneurs, Ashoka, and actively supports and promotes the impact investing market in Poland. Hi, Wojtek, once again.
Dr. Katarzyna Pala, co-founder and manager of Food for Future Technologies and Water Science and Technology Institute H2O CTech, experienced biotechnologist and IP specialist and experienced startups entrepreneur. Hi, Kasia.
Hello.
Hi. And Tomasz Szarek. Tomasz is an attorney at law and the managing partner at SDZLEGAL SCHINDHELM, an international law firm where he leads the corporate and M&A and IT practice. He supports domestic and foreign startups and IT new tech companies, especially in the field of financing and international expansion. Great to have you here, Tomasz.
And Aleksandra Kalina-Tacik, associated with Skanska company, where she's responsible for big developing of commercialization processes. Good to see you, Aleksandra. Hi.
All right, everyone. So let's start with the first round of questions. And this one will be a general question to all of you. So please, we would really like to know your perspective on what actually impactful innovations are. The question is, what does impactful innovation mean to you in the context of new businesses and new technologies? Patrycja, could you start?
It's work? Okay. Impactful innovation in the context of new technology is, for me, the creating of medical device. In medicine, during the pandemic time, we clearly seen that all telemedical solution was totally necessary. We can monitor, we can see what happened with patient anytime and anywhere. So it was really important. And one of telemedical solution, which I co-created, and I had the opportunity to test during my pregnancy and during the pandemic time, is Pregnabit. Pregnabit is tele-CTG. You do this examination during the end of the pregnancy to check the well-being of the baby. So it's really important examination. And for me, the possibility to do this examination anytime, anywhere, the comfort, sense of security, it's a huge, huge impact in well-being the mother, the baby, and in general in health.
Thank you. Tomasz, would you like to add something from you, your perspective?
Well, at the very beginning, I must say that considering the fact that we're only two male here in the panel, is not that bad.
What a surprise.
It's not that bad with the impact financing, right? So it's not that bad. I really love the definition about the impact. I mean, I also love those two words. I mean, impact and innovations. They are so buzzwords, sexy words. Everyone uses them. We don't actually know and understand what they really mean. I mean, from my perspective, the overall definition for an impact would be to have an influence. But for the purpose of this event and for the purpose of government and enterprise meaning, I would say that the impact is the measurable actions benefit to the society and to the planet. And the other very buzz and popular word is innovation. And of course, they all have something in common, because innovation is very popular now, because new tech and technology is our everyday life. So we are actually facing technology all the time. But from my perspective, I think that the companies are struggling and racing to have all those flashy new technologies, and they keep on forgetting that actually all those groundbreaking innovations are actually, they require the impact itself. So the impact must go together with the innovation. So from my perspective, those two issues are actually strictly connected. So without the impact, the innovations itself would never be so innovative.
Thank you so much. Kasia.
Okay, yes, thank you for the invitation, and the subject of this panel is very interesting for me because I'm an engineer actually, so as all engineers are thinking about engineering and new solutions and technologies. So when I started preparing to this panel and I started thinking about impactful innovations, first of all I needed to answer the question, what is the business for? So as Tomek Popov at the beginning said, the business, first of all, and the pure definition definition of the business is, of course, profit. Each business is creating to be profitable. But if we think about how business is profitable and about business around us, we have to be aware that to do the profitable and good business, we need to have good environment, we need to have good political conditions, and we need to have a very good neighborhood around us to have happy clients, happy future customers for us. And to have that, the business owners, founders, engineers, tech creators have the responsibility to do to provide the business this way, to create this environment proper for also for the business, but it means it must be proper for the whole society. Because if we have creative society, then we will have happy customers, we will have a good education, we will have good engineers, and then our business can be profitable. So for me, of course, all the definitions which we hear now are good and are proper, but also in terms of business, the impactful innovation is to create business this way, to have the good relation with the society and the environment around us.
Thank you so much for this inspiration as well. Wojtek.
Okay, thank you. I will show a different perspective, a little bit different.
Great.
Maybe to be a little bit
Great.
provocative or not. We will see. So I'm supporting social entrepreneurs. And very often people ask me, what is the difference between entrepreneur and social entrepreneur? And very quick and easy definition that I sometimes use is that entrepreneur very often is in love in the product or solution, especially if it's impactful and it is innovative. And what is the difference? The social entrepreneur is in love in the problem, not the solution. So it is more about how it is hard love, of course, because it is not the love that the social entrepreneur wants to have till the end of of his life or her life. So the innovation is a tool in the toolbox, and I see the better innovation is how it leverages to rid of the problem, or a social problem, or climate challenge, etc. So this is for me a challenge.
Great, thank you for this perspective. And Ola, what would you add?
I don't prepare an answer for this question, but when I was hearing what you said, all of you, I think that this impact is more important than innovation, because right now on the market we have a lot of innovative solutions in my field, in construction industry especially, but not everyone want to use them. So the impact should be from our side to encourage or sometimes force those companies to use those innovation solutions. So this impact should go only also from consumer side.
All right, thank you. So we have business, we have consumers, and we have impact.
Let's jump deeper. Patricia, I have a question for you. What was your motivation to start your company, to develop your impactful products to change quality of life for soon-to-be parents?
My motivation was to save this one life. My friend gave birth to that baby, and it was not possible, it was impossible to back time, to go faster. Sure. But in this situation, I decided to invest all my saved money to prevent such tragedies. And of course, this dream cannot be fully realized, but we know that Pregnabit saves human lives, and it is the most important for me. And I was thinking about it when I start. Only one life, it was totally enough for me to start.
Yeah, fantastic. So the motivation is really important, I believe, in innovation, in social innovation. Can we combine business and science to build successful impact startups? And if yes, so how to do this. Yeah, also to Patricia, but Kasia, absolutely, you can join.
Okay, business and science. It's totally different, two different worlds. And they have different languages,
Yeah.
different goals to achieve, different needs, and even the definition of success is totally different in these different worlds. So, but on the other hand, if you want to do a good business, you need to innovation, you need science, you need to a good quality of your product. So you should find and create the best team, both of kind of expert, scientist and business expert. And the communication between them, it's totally crucial. Because without it, it's not possible to do a good business, in my opinion. So it's why transfer, knowledge, innovation, and technological transfer, it's the most important when you start some kind of idea and you want to have a good business. You need to cooperate with different person, with different perspective.
I believe, Kasia, I also feel this question very well.
Yes, exactly, because I'm doing business and I used to be scientist. So, Patrycja, I agree, and in the same time, I disagree with you, because I agree because people in Poland especially think that business and science are two completely different words. But we all agree that it shouldn't be like that. To do the impactful innovations, business and science should have the common goal to go and common direction to go, and only then we will be able to provide a very innovative solution, but in a way that they will be good for broader society.
To become Captain America.
To become
Captain
Captain, yeah, exactly.
Captain World.
Patricia, I have one more thing, because about this experience. So I would like to back to this experience with Pregnabit during your pregnancy, that it helps you so much. How was this feeling when you were using your own product? And
it was totally amazing, you know. You build something during the years. You put your heart there. You know, drink a lot of coffee to work hard. And after you have your solution in your hand, and you can feel comfortable and secure, and you don't need to go to a hospital during the pandemic time. It was so amazing for me, and work with midwives during the examination. It was so great. I was so proud of all the team who built this product, and with medical team who analyzed the data. Yeah. It was really wonderful.
I believe that it's the second piece of great motivation to go further with your product.
Exact.
All right, Wojtek, I will ask you two questions as well. So the first one, what is the new role of investors in a changing world? And how does impact investing look like today in Poland and worldwide?
So the situation differs in Poland and in the world. I was mapping the market early this year. And when I was looking for impact funds, I found two in Poland. One is of Tomek, and the second is, I guess, in Katowice, as I remember. There are two. And there are like hundreds of VCs that want to have innovative startups in Poland as well. So this is the situation in Poland, that there are almost no investors. So what we decided is to co-create also the network of investors that we are doing right now, private investors. We think that this is a really important part of the ecosystem to have investors. If you have investors, you have more projects. It's like without one, you can't have more more interesting startups in the impact field. So it is very important to have capital and to have interesting projects, and to have both at the same time. And in US or England or Berlin, 2 weeks ago I spoke with a friend who is a co-owner of one of the impact fund, and I asked him how many projects he looked at last year, and he told me 2,000. So in Poland, I'm not sure that we have 2,000 impact startups. Probably I know like 80 or 90% of those products, and I can count like for sure not more than 100 in the whole Poland. This is my.
Then we have a good perspective. There's always something.
So we are at
more
the
to
beginning. As you mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm very happy to be at the beginning and to co-create and to help to build ecosystem with other players. And co-creation is a great idea how to do it. Not to be the one who is the first and the best, but to be a part of a group of different investors who can co-create and do it together. And in Europe, we have hundreds of impact funds right now. We have a lot of projects, a lot of capital. Just to give you that it is not a niche. Last year, in 2021, 39 billion euro were invested in impact companies, and the market.
Could you repeat?
Sorry?
Could you repeat?
It's a good number.
39 billion of euro.
In Europe or in whole world?
In whole world.
Okay.
And the market is valuated 2.5 trillion. This is the data from Deal Room. This is the provider of the information. Of course, not the data is exact in this impact market, because not all the providers are accounting impact investors. For example, in Poland, we don't have information how many startups, how many investors. So it was just a manual job to see how it looks like.
Yes, I wanted to ask about it because you've created such a list of impact investors, right? To be
I tried to.
Okay.
So we have two funds. And we have, but also we have funds that every time I ask regular VC, are they interested in impact investments? Everybody was saying, yes, of course, give me the projects. But then on the pitching day, they ask, okay, tell me how you will grow with your profits from 10 to 20% monthly. And I'm not curious how much your impact will grow and how you will measure your impact. Just say me that you are impactful is good enough. So it is really the early stage in Poland, I guess.
Okay, so we still need some understanding. Talking about solutions, tech solutions that can actually improve the quality of life, would you say we should create good technologies, or should we create technologies for the good?
I think both. But good technologies is not enough. We co-created the initiative in Poland that is called Tech to the Rescue, and this is what we want to do, how to leverage solutions with the technology and to make it more impactful.
Right, thank you so much.
Katarzyna,
Yes.
how should we design new technologies to make good use of them to solve meaningful problems?
So I think that 4 factors should be taken into account if you would like to create technologies for solving meaningful problems and for solving some challenges which we are facing on. And at this point, maybe I will repeat something which has already been said by Wojciech, for example, that first of all, we engineers, founders, students, etc., we shouldn't take technology as an end of itself. So that shouldn't be a goal. The goal should be the problem that we are solving. And we know that, as Wojciech said, that people who create technologies are very familiar with the technology and they love the technology. So they don't want to change it. Even if the external world is changing, the technology is the same, the solution must be the same, because inventors are in love in their solution. So that's normal, yeah? But to create the meaningful innovation, this perspective should be different. So we should look, first of all, the problem which we are solving, And secondly, we should use the technology as a tool, not only one technology, because the technology might cause the positive impact on the solution, but also the negative impact on the other area of our lives. So this is why it is so important to look at it from different perspectives. Secondly, creating such technologies, first of all, we need to ask two questions. First is why, not how. Why we are doing this, why it is important, what we can achieve by doing this by this way, etc. And after answering this question, we are asking how. But how is not only about the technology which we are choosing. It is also very important, and it is obvious for everybody and for co-founders of the startups. But how also in the meaning that how we are disseminating the results, how we are communicating with the community, how we are celebrating if we succeed, but also how we are communicating if we fail. So this is also very important in terms of meaningful innovation, in terms of spreading the innovation in the society. The third thing, but also very important thing, is the team, and people, because every business and impactful business must be people-oriented. And I'm thinking here not only the people as our customers, because every business must focus on the customers, but also about society, neighborhood. But very important is that, and sometimes we are forgetting about this, our own team in our companies, our own team, which is people who are creating the business, because those people will have this impact. Those people will be creative enough to make change in the world. So that was the third thing. And the last but not least, which is not obvious for everybody, it is education, but not in the meaning, of course, education is very important and everybody knows that. But education in the meaning that Patrycja and Agnieszka will agree with me for sure, human sciences are as important as STEM sciences. Yes. Because I graduated from University of Technology here in Wrocław. And it is you too, exactly. So Patrycja, you agree with me that every student at the University of Technology, or most of them, it is very common that they said that only STEM sciences are matters. So IT, AI, biotech, engineering. Exactly, yeah. And if we ask them to learn more about sociology, economy, politics, etc., they will say, no, it's not important. We are wasting our time to learn such sciences. And of course, in my opinion, it is bullshit, because to provide the proper technologies to the society, we have to know what are the trends in the society? How are people thinking? What would be the acceptance of the technology in the society? Because we know that without acceptance of the society, it's very difficult to introduce the new technologies into the market. And we have an example in the COVID-19 pandemic when the vaccination was introduced. It was very hard to convince people to be vaccinated, even though it is wonderful technology, very safe and wonderful technology saving lives, yes? So this is why we need to learn science, economy, politics, politology, in order to create the solutions in the direction that people will accept that, and in the direction which will solve the basic social problems.
Yeah, this is, I guess, this power of inter and multidisciplinarity that we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah. And that's why second edition of Social Innovation Startup Challenge, our contest for students, we will combine students of technical university as well as students from social sciences. So we believe that it's a good direction. I have one more. I want more. What is your experience in changing your awareness about the role of new technologies on the market and the role of tech entrepreneurs?
Yeah, thank you for this question, because I have some experience in that, in fact.
I know. I know you a little bit.
Yeah, so my first experience was, I think I would start from SenseDX, which is also, as Patrycja, a medical device technology. So that was my start in startups, actually. So that was the first company in which I work with that had a vision and mission to provide the technology, not only by technology by itself, but also to improve the society's life and to improve, to bring the broader perspective in the health of the society. So that was a very nice experience. And during this experience, I started cooperation just by accident with some Norwegians who wanted to bring our solution in SenseDX into aquaculture in Norway. So that was the first step when I started learning about aquaculture. What is this aquaculture? Why it is so important? So when I started reading about this, I discovered ocean of possibilities and completely new world. So I fall in love in aquaculture, of course, in Norway. And Norwegian attitude to...
It was funny because Kasia was going with boxes from Norway with salmons, props of salmon.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Not
the advantage.
To eat it, I assume. To eat it? No.
No, to examine them.
In the lab.
Yeah, so working with Norwegian people, Norwegian scientists, I watched that, I learned their attitude to do the business. So in their perspective, the impactful innovation and the inclusive innovation is very, very important, because without taking care of the environment and of the society around them, they do not exist. So aquaculture will not exist in Norway if they don't care about the nature, the water, the society, people, and everything what is around there. So learning that, together with my team, we decided that this company which we founded, now it is Food for Future Technologies. Previous name was Fish Farm Solution. But besides that, apart from that, it was not enough. So we created the institute, private fund, Water Science and Technology Institute, because we decided that we should do more in order to increase the awareness of this impactful innovation and about importance of water scarcity, water savings, environment savings, etc. So now we have one grant, and now we provide different workshops and science and research in order to provide such innovation into the market, but not only innovations which will bring money, but also innovation which will create the ecosystem, which help us also, but not only us, in the future to provide good business, for example, in aquaculture.
Kasia, thank you so much for these great insights. I think this is about education and awareness, and I think we all agree that this is a must, and if we want to go farther, we need to educate ourselves. That's something we should start with.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, and Tomasz, I would like to ask you a question about culture, entrepreneurial culture. What's actually the role of companies today in creating this impactful culture?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I think the role is pretty crucial. I think after pandemic, what we notice is that most of the companies, the culture in the companies were quite successfully verified. So the pandemic showed which companies have the culture, the real culture, and which of them not. And of course, when the employees went out and they start working outside of the company, only the real culture actually helps the company to remain effective. And that's what we are suffering, all of us suffering now, because now I will try to say that we are after pandemic. But the crucial word in the question you asked me is today, because the role today is even more difficult, because we just came after pandemic, and what the pandemic showed us is that it's not only the global hunger and the environmental issues, we are also facing like the global health threat. And right after that, we realized that there can be a war going on just across the border. So I think now it's the best moment for the companies to stand up and show the good side of everything. But on the other hand, from my perspective, the employees came back to work, to office, and they are quite lost. They don't know what's going on. So I think that's the best moment for the companies to create something even deeper, the real organizational culture, which would have a significant impact. And the positive side for the companies, from my perspective, is that actually the employees are expecting that, because I know we are chasing. I mean, the companies are competing with each other with coming with following benefits like Pizza Friday and Fruit Monday and everything, but that's all fake. I mean, you need to have something more, and I think the employees, when they found out that there is something like work-life balance and there is like a huge threat to the life, they're looking for something more.
I would like to ask about Wojtek, about Tech to the Rescue, this case, because in this context of culture, because I think that this deep experience to all these companies, it's something would have a great power to develop this experience further and to change businesses. What do you think about this power which exists in companies which just went through this fantastic experience, or just now are going, yeah? Because this, for example, this huge help for Ukraine, yeah, and so on, it's going on. So it's absolutely powerful experience. What do you think?
Yes, I would like to connect it with the culture.
Sure.
So what we see, and we want it also to be more powerful in Poland especially, that we are very strong in terms of IT companies, software house, especially in Wrocław as well. And so to giving benefits to employees is not enough. And IT specialists just want to switch from one company to the other company, etc., etc. And I think we also introduced a new category that IT guys are asking the companies, are they engaged in Tech to the Rescue, because they want to do impactful projects. And it was like a year ago, it was our dream, so that yes, it is not that, for example, IT company have some 3-4% of free time, and maybe they will, instead of doing internal project, do something good. Now they don't have spare time, but they want to do a good project, because if they don't do it, then the employees will go to the other company. So this is the thing that we want to do. We believe we can do it, and people are more and more looking for something with sense.
Oh,
Can I add
sure, absolutely.
About
please,
about the impact from IT companies? As you mentioned, in Wrocław we have a lot of IT companies from Ukraine, and I heard a lot of stories. And you said that office, it's not only office anymore, and people need to have something more. That a lot of clients, which I know, decide to postpone some investment because they decide to help their families of their employees to go to Poland, for example, or provide some help from Poland to Ukraine. And I think that, of course, we can discuss about those trends, and we shouldn't discuss only about the hard impact that we can do something, but a lot of invention, a lot of ideas go from the employees on their side, and we see huge impact from, I think, our generation right now.
Yeah, Patricia, also I would like to ask you, because all this pandemic experience, it's also a huge huge thing, I believe, in your defining of your business, yeah, because so many has changed because of pandemic. When we talk about telemedicine,
yes,
what do you think?
Exactly, it's true. At first, when we start with telemedicine, a lot of medical doctors or midwives, they don't want to, they said that, yes, we are open for innovation, but it was not easy to
Not so much.
commercialize. Yeah, exact. So it was only, we want, but we are afraid because there is not a law connection with this subject, for example, and so on. And we had the same problem with patients. They said that they want to use telemedical solution, but they afraid about the data. They afraid because technology is too hard for them, and so on. And after pandemic, nobody discuss about it. Everybody know that it's crucial, important, and use really common. So yeah, for us it was huge step to develop telemedical solution in general.
Sure, thank you.
We talk about this impactful culture that actually should be created to some point by companies. And Tomasz, one more question to you, to go more specifically into this subject. Should actually HR play some role, or maybe significant role, in developing not only solutions, like new solutions for the employees because they want something more, but should they actually develop new attitudes and behaviors among employees? Because this is the other side.
Yeah, I think what we discussed just recently is that it shows that that's the expectation of the employees, and I would say it's not if they should, but they must, because there is no other solution. I mean, the employees are not looking for the regular benefits. They need to have something deeper, something more. They need to know the meaning of what they're doing. And I always say, as Simon Sinek says, is that it's not what you do and how you do it, it's why you do it. That's the most important thing in this case. But considering only HR, I would say I would come back to the first question and when I said that the culture must be real. So I would say, if you would focus this only on HR, this is not enough. I think the culture and the impactful culture comes from the top. So if your boss sucks, your culture would also suck. So in this case, it goes down among the employees. So it's the culture, the impactful culture is not a piece of paper that you hang on a wall, as the employees would simply verify it. Because I think for a long time, now it's real. The employees are actually expecting it. So it's not that they would see the paper and they would say, okay, we're making an impact. They want to see a real impact. That's my approach in this case.
Isn't it like a bottom-up approach? Like you hear from your employees in different companies that actually we need a change. And I think, I don't know if you agree with me, maybe this should be combined together. So you cannot really agree on any strategies, like top-down strategies, if you don't have this response from the bottom, right? So especially in case of impactful solutions, it seems that the most optimal way is if it plays together. So you have this signal from the employees, from the market, from the employment market, that actually we need something different. And this is how you create this culture that you respond to it.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, figuring out the culture from the top of the organization would not be actually effective, because I think what we notice, I mean, this situation in Ukraine showed us that the best solution comes from the bottom, because down there everyone knows what is actually needed, and somewhere there above the decision is for sure corporate. From a corporate perspective, it's perfectly made and promoted, but may not be effective.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So Wojciech, you mentioned about co-creation. It's really great when we can combine and do together and change our environment together.
I must admit that I'm always amazed, because I know what Wojciech is doing, and I have a great number of friends and clients in the IT sector, and from my perspective, the IT sector is astonishing how it was actually working together. I mean, there are no competitor relations. I mean, everyone are just joining forces together and helping.
I have one question to Tomasz regarding these HR problems and what you said before. Because I can imagine how it works in smaller companies, like you have 20 people, 30 people, even 50 people. But how does it work, this bottom-up and top-down impact in big corporation, actually? Because it's hard to imagine for me that it works by the same way like in small startups.
Well, I think that the main difference is that if you have a large number of employees, you just simply have to be open for the ideas. I mean, if you have a small group and people, I mean, our firm is actually, I would say, like 50 people. And the only thing is that if you're a big corporation, that's a huge step to change and say, okay, I'm not going to qualify your ideas if they are good or not. I'm just open. I'm going to finance that. I'm going to apply them, and actually they end up being very successful. So I think it doesn't matter if you're big or small. The ideas are perfect in every case. The only thing is that if you're a big company, if you're a big organization, you should not create any obstacles in this case.
I also believe that sometimes it's just to make some space for people. Like, I don't know, in Google, this 20% project, for example, that everybody knows that they can invest 20% of their work time to do something meaningful, to do some projects. And when we said that, for example, it should be impactful projects, so yeah, it would be nice chance just to give space to do this.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good example, Google. But of course, we know Google is very rich and very impactful company, and Google wants to be seen and watched as an impactful company. But with other big corporations, which have thousands of employees, sometimes it works, sometimes it's not working. But I think that in current times, when we face different world challenges and when we can see that the awareness of people and employees is rising, especially in terms of the impact of company, especially, for example, in climate change, then for corporation it started to be also very important, and the space for the ideas and for different innovations is also very important.
If I may add something, I have a very interesting case study with a corporation. So what we did with Tech to the Rescue, now we are trying to do with big corporations. The initiative is called Executives for Impact. And as we see the situation with the NGOs that are helping to the migrants, right? So let's say four months ago, it was a challenge for them just to fundraise 10,000 zloty. They had like 3 employees, etc. From month to month, those organizations have millions. And they, for example, right now, from 3 employees have 50 employees and 3,000 volunteers, for example. And how to, from the management point of view, grow the organization.
Yeah. How to achieve that?
Yes, and so we started to match big corporations that sent a whole teams, like 20 people for 3 weeks, working hand with hand with those people and helping. And it was just tremendous. That just don't do obstacles and beautiful things can happen. And corporations are the people that work there are the same that in startups or
different. That's an amazing idea, I must say. It's incredible.
Everything is possible.
We have many captains, planets here. Before I just said Captain America, I think I multiplied some heroes here, but all right.
Yeah, Alexandra, I have some questions for you. In what ways can, in the same climate, I would say, what ways can companies today influence other companies to make them more impactful?
in many ways. At the beginning, I want to say
hope
that
so.
I heard a lot about the great startups right now, and I want to say that Skanska is a big company, but in Poland we have only 3 people who caring about innovations. So, and one of those people is Kinga, who's sitting on the audience. So,
Where's Kinga?
so if you want to
Hi,
discuss
hi,
with
Kinga,
someone,
good to
Kinga
see
is
you.
with us. And I want to say it because sometimes it's hard to sell some idea to big corporation because we have only 3 people, but some of the startups right now, those companies are not the startups anymore, but for example Saule from Wroclaw or Zonifero, they work with us to creating perovskites or connected by Skanska system. So we work a lot with the startups, and that's why I'm here right now. And I want to say that those companies, those startups can have influence on us, because we as a company, we don't know a lot about innovation, honestly. We are a construction company who use knowledge from another companies. Of course, we can encourage everyone to I don't know how to say it. We can encourage another companies showing how we developed our buildings to choose us as a supplier, as a new office. And some of regulation help us with this, because we have new ESG initiative from European Union about carbon footprint. And as I mentioned before, it's a lot of nice solution, good solution on the market, and we should encourage another companies to use it. And I don't want to talk a lot about the offices, because the probability that some of the audience looking for a new office is really rare, I think. But let's ask the question. If you are looking for a flat, if you are looking for a new house, you are in the middle of design process, your new place, ask the question, because a little bit less than 40% of emission CO2 in Poland is created by buildings and construction companies. So it's really a lot. And we have some systems like gray and rainwater system. Concrete generate a lot of CO2 emission, and we can, in some cases, change concrete to wood, for example, in shell and core standard. So we have, as a construction company, a lot of innovation systems which we can provide. And I work in the sales department. So if I hear a lot about companies that, oh, this office will be great if we will have terraces. Okay, in the next project, when we had a meeting with designers, I asked them, please add some terraces, because our clients ask about this. So it's a huge probability that if you were asked another companies, another developers about some solutions, they maybe in the next future project, they will implement them. So I think that those questions can encourage and sometimes force some companies and some other suppliers to implement nice stuff.
Yeah, it's really important just to start as questions. Yeah.
I think I would like to ask this question to all of you, because you're either company owners or you work for some great organizations. Would you have an idea how you can influence other companies to become more impactful?
I can say one thing only. For example, in our recent project, we use green concrete. This is a concrete who can absorb CO2 from the air. And we start with our marketing department bombing the market about this idea. And right now on the street, when we develop the building, each of our neighbor decide to do the same, because they knew that in our marketing communication, we won those communications. So that's why they decide to do this also. So good example is also a good idea.
Great.
So I need to say that's a difficult question, actually, especially from business perspective. So to answer this question and to say yes, I can imagine that okay, yes, we can, but it requires the education of the society, because it will only work if the society will accept that solution, and if our competition, not only competition, but other companies see that that there is a big acceptance of the society, that people react positively on our solution. Only then it is possible to influence other companies to do to repeat the solution and to provide other solutions. So social media, marketing, PR, and very good communication. Yeah, it is important to provide such solution and to encourage other company and other businesses to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can also say something. Oh, you first.
Oh, I want to say that I completely agree, because we said about education before, yeah,
Exactly.
in couloir.
Education is very important, but also experience. And I guess if you experience what does it mean to do something impactful, then you just know that it's good and you want to do it more. And probably you know, because we co-creating another initiatives with SW University. And it is called Influencers for Good. And our first campaign that we do together is an hour of good. So just we encourage everybody to do 1 hour of good things and experience actually what does it mean for you and your organization, and then the good will happen and spread.
Educating by examples. Mm-hmm. Tomasz, would you like to add?
Well, it's being a lawyer. It's a difficult question, because I would say that, I mean, I'm just joking, saying that you can show other lawyers that you do things for free, and that's quite impactful. But to be honest, I mean, that was a great experience. Yeah, the great experience for us was to simply help, especially the IT companies, once again, moving away from Ukraine, and we were involved in the Concordia Design Accelerator program, when we were actually helping all those people coming from the IT sector, from Kiev, from all around, to Poland very fast, moving very fast, and helping them set up here, organize hubs for hundreds of developers, from IT sector, just spread around Europe. And I think doing this for free, of course, and having the pleasure of working with those people is one thing, but then you have to show other people, from my sector, other lawyers, that you can do it, you can be involved in initiatives like that, and you don't have to earn money for that. I know it's difficult for a lawyer, but that's true, actually. That was a joke with the money.
Yeah, we can only make impactful innovations global-wise using money, which is also okay. So that's why
to do impactful innovation, money are also very important. So,
but also in terms of money and innovations, maybe we think about nowadays it's a bad moment to introduce some innovations, but please be aware that some of the investment in a big corporation are postponed because some uncertainty on the market. So a lot of companies with whom we discuss, they decide, okay, we skip it. Right now we are focused to do some innovation inside the building to increase the efficiency, provide some new solutions, and then when the market will be in a better condition, then we grow. So maybe this is right now for startups good moment to find those companies who want to prepare some operational excellence and use the knowledge of those startups,
Thanks
the
for
money from the companies, to create a good cooperation.
Okay, one more. In terms of new HR trends, how can companies become more inclusive?
It's also connected with the topics which we touched a few minutes ago. We see that companies start to think about inclusive design more than before pandemic. And it's related with many different fields. In one hand, we have some gaps in the market, in the labor market. So companies start to hire for example, elderly people who usually don't work in the big companies before. So, for example, daylight control should be should be different. Some places in the work for silent work should be increased in the office. Open space not that common anymore as a previous years. And what is nice example how it changed. A few years ago, we had in our house regulation ban for pets inside the building. You cannot go in to your work with your dog. A few years later, we decided to add some exclusivity, some
Dog entrance.
yeah, for dog guides for blind people. And right now in our house regulation, pets are really welcome in our offices because we want to create a place where people want to go. So we also decide, and a lot of companies decide to prepare object without barriers, so the place where all people with some disabilities can go inside, some place making around the building. So I think that this idea that everyone are really welcome inside the office is much more common than before pandemic, because a lot of companies right now struggle with situation that people don't want to go back to the office. So they need to encourage them somehow to go inside the building because, for example, the KPIs which they established a few years ago don't exist anymore, taking into consideration the home office. So this inclusive design, I think, is really, really common trend right now on the market.
If I may just shortly comment, when we were telling you about impactful innovation, what it actually is, and we were talking about solutions that are actually improving the quality of life, I think this is a very important factor, this inclusiveness, that it's about improving lives of everyone, not just of some people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's also about asking questions, being empathetic, and just asking why, for example, somebody cannot do something here, yeah?
All right, thank you all so much for answering those questions. And I also wanted to thank our audience for listening so focused. I hope we did some educational program here. The question now is who would like to join us in this discussion and ask some questions to our guests.
What do you think about all this subject? Maybe would you like to add something, if not a question?
Maybe a comment.
Great.
Yes, wonderful. There will be a microphone, just...
I really don't need that. Okay.
No, okay.
Okay, all right. You were talking about changing the culture internally in companies, whether it's 50 people or 3,000 people. You work in sales, Alexandra, which is closely related to marketing. So what I was wondering is, have you guys ever come across marketing companies that offer inward-facing services? So basically, so that from the head of the company, they could market these ideas inward to change the culture within companies, to change the attitude so that the team, basically team members can absorb the message with the same intensity that customers are expected to absorb the message from companies. Thank you.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we work a lot with external companies. Our HR department work with Korn Ferry company, and they provide a survey each year for all employees about what you want to change inside the company. And we don't cooperate with external marketing, but we have our own marketing department who try to prepare communication for all employees to encourage them to stand up. Once a year we have a meeting for all employees. And I think the atmosphere showing that you can stand up and say something. Of course, it's not easy when you manage a lot of people with many different locations, because we as Skanska, we work as a Central Eastern Europe, not only in Poland, and the language is also challenged sometimes. But yes, this communication and this marketing part of creating the culture inside the company is extremely important.
Anyone of you would like to add something from you about this topic?
Actually, I'm running a startup, and previously I was also running a startup. So in startup, it is really a limited money for the external companies. So not yet, but maybe in the future that would be a very good idea to improve the internal communication and to improve the awareness of employees. Yes, that might be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. But then again, it's about communication as well, and you've also mentioned that how important it is to educate the society, but also like everyone around. So I assume that this communication is exactly based on that within your company.
Yeah, exactly. Within our company, within the company, but also outside the company. One very nice example is about aquaculture, actually. I don't know if you use Netflix, and in Netflix is a film documentary, actually, Seaspiracy, as I guess. So the Seaspiracy, I don't know if you watch it. Everybody who watch it believe that this is whole true, and aquaculture is very, very bad, and this is only bad things in aquaculture. But actually, in fact, that is only a half of the story, and the people who made this documentary didn't say the full story. So this is why our aquaculture environment in Europe, actually, in Norway, but also here in European countries in the continent, started thinking how to prevent this bad communication, because aquaculture can bring very big benefits for the environment, but also for human poverty. So this external communication actually is very important, and such external companies which specializes with external communication and with providing good communicate to the society is very, very important, because I noticed that is more negative communication around this subject than positive communication.
Thank you, Kasia. Does anyone have another question?
Would you like to add something?
Good day. I would like to ask a question to Tomasz. In your speech, you said that that impact should be measurable. And I would like to ask you, what's your top 5 KPI in education?
Top 5 KPIs for the measuring of the...
in education.
In education?
How we can measure the KPI in education?
Oh, that's a difficult question, actually.
That is why I asked.
That is actually a difficult question. I think it's hard to explain how you can measure the effectiveness in the education. I think I don't know if I can make up 5, but I would say for sure the coverage of it. I mean the coverage of potential addressees that you can actually get to with the message or with the information that you're trying to implement. That would be one. I think the simplicity and the possibility to understand the message that you're trying to implement in the particular part of society or particular group of employees. Those are the 2 that come to my mind actually now. I don't know if any other of the panelists have any ideas in this case, because this is the one that come to me. That was an extremely difficult question, to be honest, especially for a lawyer.
Talking about education. Well, I guess I'm not sure if I also understand it well. I'm sorry, I'm a moderator and I'm just answering the question now, but I think it's what I'm observing. It's this ability to think critically, right? So if we have a society in general that is able to think critically, then I guess it means the educational system works to some extent, right? And now this question is open whether we do live in such a society in general. Anyone, any other comments or questions? Great.
Jesus Christ, that's a difficult audience, actually.
Thank you. But
Lucky us.
basically, that's not a question, but more like a comment. During the discussion, you were talking about the startups and the companies, and also how to implement innovations in the big companies like corporates. And as Alexandra mentioned before, we are working together at Skanska. So I have one more insight from our daily work. I think that because of the pandemic and the time that we were all closed at our homes and we are so distant from each other in the physical way, the distance between employees and the employers, so the leadership team and the managers has really shortened. And because of that, it is easier to speak up, and it is even easier than before to tell about our ideas and to share our perspective in the broad audience. And we can basically say that people at our company are our startups because we have some internal ideas, like the things that Ola mentions, or we have networks that are rising up. They are always also connected with the inclusiveness. So we have the Body and Mind Network for the people who have some disabilities with body and mind, and also the network about LGBTQ+. So we are really trying to make a good atmosphere for all of the employees, and I think that when companies are creating this nice atmosphere and this openness, it's easier to raise up with your ideas, and it's easier to grow them.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
really like this sentence, people in our company are our startups. This was really, really great.
Kinga should work in the sales department, I think.
Oh, great.
Agnieszka, give me the pleasure to, summarize the panel and give a big round of applause. Agnieszka Młodzińska-Granek for our panelists. Agnieszka Młodzińska-Granek.
Thank you so much.
Patrycja Radek, Tomasz Szarek, Wojciech Mróz, Katarzyna Pala, Patricia Vizinska, Socha, Aleksandra Kalina-Tacik. It was impressive and great discussion panel. Thank you very much, guys.